Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. It is, of course, as always, lovely to see your faces. And today is super cool because I get to talk about another one of my favorite video game series, the one and only StarFox. So, StarFox has had a pretty rocky go of it the last couple of years, most specifically this last year, of course, with the release of StarFox Zero, but with the Switch coming up pretty soon and everyone's discussions about what kind of games and series and franchises, first party or third party, might we end up seeing on the Switch throughout its life, it got me thinking about StarFox, which, like I said in the beginning of the video, is one of my favorite series. Not just from Nintendo, but it's really one of my favorite series within the entire history and pantheon of gaming, and it goes way back to my younger preteen days as a gamer, and it gives me really fond memories, and I've enjoyed most of what StarFox has given us throughout the years. There's been one or two minor missteps. In my opinion, nothing completely devastating to the series or tainting it within my own brain, but certainly some rocky roads, like I said. StarFox 64 is literally one of my all-time favorite games. It really might be a top 10 game for me. It was so wonderful when that came out in 1997, I want to say. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe it was 97. And it changed everything. It was one of these games that Nintendo really hyped for a very long time. With the exception of Mario 64, it was probably their most hyped game for a while, at least until Ocarina of Time came out a year or so later. But the way they kind of promoted and made that game seem like the newest, most revolutionary, groundbreaking thing, to me, reminded me of when they were doing the same thing many years and a generation earlier with Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. So any older gamers around my age or older probably remember those times in the 90s, the way they really promoted Donkey Kong Country in a specific way, and they had like a VHS tape that they gave people to watch and show previews of it. And they kind of did the same thing with StarFox 64 because of how revolutionary that game was. And I love StarFox on the Super Nintendo. I really like Star-Fox Assault. Star-Fox Adventures, an underrated gem. I seriously have very strong feelings for Star-Fox Adventures, but when all is said and done, StarFox 64 is really the standard that everyone holds the series to, and to be fair, the series has never been able to live up to that game since. This last year, as we all know, and as I said in the beginning of the video, Nintendo released StarFox Zero for the Wii U, and we all know how that turned out. Now, of course, if you know me, you know I actually really enjoy StarFox Zero. It's one of my favorite games on the Wii U. It felt great to get a Star Fox game back in the modern day. There are definitely a lot of things I wish that weren't happening with that game. Forcing the control scheme on people was unfortunate. I do like the controls, and when you sit down and take the time and kind of tune into what that game is asking you to do, it becomes really fantastic. And as I've said before, almost euphoric. You can really kind of just zone out to that game once you get good at the controls. And I think that also remaking StarFox 64 to a degree, because Miyamoto basically came out and said he was kind of trying to reimagine that game, and I think that was them trying to play it safe with StarFox as opposed to do something completely fresh and brand new. And I think that in theory and on paper that maybe sounded good, but in execution it really didn't feel like the Star Wars game, or the Star Fox game that we had been waiting for basically 10 years. But at the end of the day, my strong feelings for StarFox Zero aside, there's no doubt that that game has really put the series and Nintendo in kind of a pickle. They're really in a sticky situation when it comes to Star Fox and what to do with it. I would imagine within Nintendo, Miyamoto and all the developers are thinking, where does this series fall within the lineage of Nintendo series and characters? Where does it lie within its importance? What does the sales and the reception of StarFox Zero tell us? And will we ever see another Star Fox game again? That's what us fans want to know. And with the Switch coming out, like I said earlier as well, it makes us wonder, are we going to get that game and that series on the Switch? Will it continue on the new console? Or did the poor reception to Star Fox Zero taint Nintendo's ability to want to make another game? Maybe they've realized, hey, I guess people don't really like Star Fox. They don't care too much for it. I don't even think it sold 500,000 copies, which is unfortunate. And so maybe Nintendo's thinking we have no reason to make another Star Fox game again. So I have to say, in giving my most honest and genuine opinion to you guys about Star Fox, I do think the series will continue. There's no doubt that if Nintendo looked at the reception and sales to Star Fox Zero and took that as a negative and decided not to make Star Fox games anymore because of it, that would be their bad. Nintendo, that would be your fault because you did too many weird, forced things with Star Fox Zero that, even though there is a collection of fans like myself who did really like that game, most people didn't. And as much as I like that, I acknowledge and accept and understand the reasons why a lot of people didn't buy into that game. So it is definitely not a fair game to gauge the reception and interest in Star Fox, and it's really, really unfair. And it's another one of the reasons why I feel like Nintendo really did make a mistake with that game as much as I like it, because I do worry that Nintendo will gauge people's interest in Star Fox based on Star Fox Zero, and then all of a sudden we're in that pickle of a scenario, like I said, where Nintendo might not consider making one of those games. I, however, think that that is not going to be the case. I'm going to give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt, which, as we all know, can be a very dangerous thing to do. To invest my emotions into Nintendo knowing what the right thing to do with a series like Star Fox is, and will they give us Star Fox back the way we want it, the way I've been waiting for it, the way a lot of you guys want it. It is risky to do that because Nintendo, they're so great, but man, they let us down in a lot of ways on a fairly consistent basis. But I'm still going to do it anyway because I just like to live dangerously, and I'm going to believe that Nintendo understands, hey, we did something weird with Star Fox Zero. We tried a couple of things. We let Miyamoto experiment. We think it worked. Some people liked it, but obviously most people didn't. And we've learned a lesson. Just like maybe with the Wii U, a great system that did not perform well for many reasons. Nintendo, I think, learned the lessons from the Wii U. They're fixing a lot of those mistakes. So it seems, with the Nintendo Switch, why can't they do the same thing with the video game series? Why can't they learn from Metroid Prime Federation Force and say, well, this apparently is the Metroid game we were supposed to make? And why can't they learn from Star Fox Zero and say, well, this is the Star Fox game we were supposed to make? They, I think, are in a really strong and open-minded mindset right now, and I think that they're understanding and listening to the gamer, the consumer, the non-Nintendo gamer, hopefully, and us, the Nintendo gamer. And they understand, wow, we keep trying to do some of these weird things with some of our most lauded franchises that aren't Zelda and aren't Mario. Maybe we need to put the brakes on that. Maybe we need to step back and say, hey, Metroid's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. I made a video a couple of days ago about Metroid, and Star Fox is supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. And I think that the Switch could potentially afford some amazing things in a brand new Star Fox game that is made with the right dedication and focus to the vision of what Star Fox was supposed to be. Star Fox is not a complicated series. The character is not a complicated character. Just make a great R-Wing action shooting flying game. Give us really pretty breathtaking visuals. I hate to say that because you know me, I don't want to rely on great graphics to say a game is good because it's beautiful. But I think that's one of the series that could lend itself to really showing off the power and tech of the Nintendo Switch. Just like Metroid as well. I keep bringing up Metroid and Star Fox in the same conversation. I don't know why. But anyway, I really think that it could shine visually on the Switch. And if they can learn, man, people really do want and like that multiplayer, that online. There's a way to make it work with the Star Fox game. In fact, they've made it work several times with the Star Fox game in offline modes, I think, personally. So if they give us that, because that really is what the modern gamer wants, and it's what a lot of us expected in Star Fox Zero, I really think they could have a hit on their hands. And people want Star Fox to come back. People want Star Fox to be great. It's the problem Nintendo runs into with a lot of their franchises when they mess up, even like with the Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, for example. That's a series that people, and I don't really care for Animal Crossing, but I understand why people love it. My girlfriend loves it to death. It's like, people want these games in a certain way, and Nintendo needs to understand and recognize that that's why people love them, and they need to not try these experimental things. It's why I think that Star Fox does probably have a future on the Nintendo Switch. Like I said, I know it's risky, man. I know it's risky to believe that Nintendo might do the right things, but I just have a hard time believing that Star Fox could be dead just because of one game that wasn't completely destroyed. I mean, even the Metacritic score was like in the 70s, which is far from a train wreck, far from an abomination. And I don't have the hard numbers of how it sold, but I feel like between 300,000 and 400,000 worldwide, which also is certainly not a hit and definitely not what Nintendo wanted out of it, but it could have been worse. It could have been like a Steam World, or not Steam World, Codename Steam, oh my gosh. A Codename Steam situation with the 3DS, which really bombed commercially. And I definitely know that Star Fox Zero didn't do that. So I think that if Nintendo is smart and they look inwardsly and they say, hey, we know what Star Fox is supposed to be. Let's not overcomplicate it. Let's just make it a great action game. Let's put Star Fox in the R-Wing. Let's make an online versus mode. Nintendo, people want that. Even I want that. Even though the campaign is first and foremost, I would love a great online mode as well for my Switch version of a brand new Star Fox game. If they do those things, they're going to have a hit, and people want that back. Like I was saying, people want their Metroid a certain way. They want their Animal Crossing a certain way, and we want our Star Fox a certain way. That's just what Nintendo fans want out of their games. So I think Nintendo is slowly learning from the past mistakes. technically Star Fox Zero counts as a mistake, so I want to believe that Nintendo is going to make a new Star Fox game on the Switch, and I believe it's going to be great whenever they give it to us. So what do you guys think? Do you believe in my optimism? Do you think a Star Fox game will come to the Switch? Do you think the series is dead, or will Nintendo bring it back in some way, shape, or form sometime in the next couple of years? Tell me, of course, what you guys think. Thanks as always for tuning in. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I will catch you next time on another video.